CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend is with us. She was Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Advisor to President George W. Bush. Fran, good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
You've seen the president make his remarks yesterday. What do you think he believes about Russian interference in the election and current Russian interference?
So, I mean, look, he always makes these qualifying statements. There's two things I think about it, John. One, I think he conflates collusion with meddling and the effect on the election. These are three separate things. The intelligence community has been quite clear with him, and Dan Coates, as recently as this week, after his fumble in Helsinki, made clear it's a fact. The Russians interfered in the 2016 election, and they continue meddling to this day. The intelligence community made no assessment of the effect of that meddling on the 2016 results, and Bob Mueller hasn't opined yet about collusion. And so these are separate things the president seems to conflate.
And let's take those two things apart. Let's leave the past in the past. Dan Coates said in February, America is under attack from the Russians. He then, last week, said a version of the same thing, from the Russians. And then after the Helsinki, he said it a third time. This is about what's happening today. Right. And the president told Jeff Glor, well, I'll have to look. Well, isn't it strange if your director of intelligence says we are under attack that a president would say, well, I'd have to look at that? Shouldn't he already have that pretty much top of mind every morning?
Right. Well, one would think that he's already looked at it, right? And he's been briefed about it in excruciating detail. Dan Coates and the intelligence folks are in there for like 2 hours a day talking to him. So I'm quite sure that he's been briefed about it. It's hard to understand why he always hedges here. You know, it's very clear it was the Russians who meddled in the 2016 election. Not others. It's true, others do hack into the United States, but not in the election. What the intelligence community has said is it's the Russians. And the president seems constitutionally incapable of just stating the fact.
Well, you've worked in the White House, and we were going to would and wouldn't, apostrophe T and all of that. Wouldn't someone in the White House, if he had just misspoke, shouldn't someone have said immediately, let's correct this right away, instead of waiting 26 hours to do so?
That's right, Gayle. I mean, I was in a White House, and you often have to correct a statement. You know, normally the staff gets sent out. It's the old Washington thing, John knows. What the president meant to say was, his press secretary was with him. If it was a mere misstatement of would and wouldn't, Sarah Huckabee Sanders would have done it then and there, or he would have had him do it in his first interview. So it's just not credible. And by the way, if he really wanted to correct his and help his relationship, fix his relationship with his intelligence community, you would have fixed it on foreign soil where you insulted them, not waited 26 hours back in the White House.
What does this do for morale at the intelligence communities within them? Mike Morrell was on yesterday saying if it were up to him, he would advise some of these chiefs to consider stepping down.
Well, I think we should assume they did. I mean, we have to ask ourselves what would have caused the president, who's not prone to correcting himself publicly, to go out 26 hours later. And I think you've got to assume there was some pretty tough talk inside the White House in advance of that correction by intelligence chiefs who may very well have threatened to resign.
Wow, that was fascinating. Fran Townsend, thanks so much.
Thank you.